Hey everyone, welcome back to the Silly Twins podcast. I'm here with Aarav Kapur and Rishi Arjun, and I'm Suraj Srinivasan, and we're going to be covering the Bangladesh-New Zealand test match as well as the India-South Africa. We'll split it into two parts, but yeah, we'll just go from there. We may be commenting on the Ashes because it's going on in the background right now. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoy, and make sure you like and subscribe as well. All right. Which one do you guys want to start off with? Bangladesh, New Zealand?
I think let's start with Bangladesh, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Probably, I'm trying to think if I've seen a more shocking victory in my life in Test cricket.
Yeah.
I'm
home for New Zealand as well. Like everything going against Bangladesh. And,
yeah, I can't even wear this cap right now. Because I actually was supporting Bangladesh in the last couple of days. So
wow. Okay.
But
yeah, it's also awesome when like the underdogs play well and beat the top teams. So yeah, in that terms also it was good.
Yeah.
This is like underdogs to new level. Their record in New Zealand in all formats is 0-32. I think so because of time zones, I think the game started on the 31st year, and I remember putting it on, and I saw they were New Zealand were 120 for one, Conway and Will Young. I was like, oh my god, it's this typical New Zealand about us do their typical battering at home where all their players score 500 and then all the bowlers just compete to get a fifer and win by innings, like I've done last like 6 seasons. So I was like, start off another that Bangladesh too. Okay, nice. I actually was thinking, this is good. Kane was not playing. This is more chance for Will Young, Rachin Ravinder, and some of their young talent. I wasn't expecting anything from Bangladesh to like completely. I was like, the only thing that makes this series interesting to watch is New Zealand time zone. It works really well with PST. It comes right in the middle of the day. I was like, okay, I'll just put it on. I'll see New Zealand batter a couple hundreds, and then wickets were slowly starting to fall in New Zealand, and then the pitch was flat. Like the pitch was pretty flat. So when New Zealand got 320, I was like, damn, that's a really shocking. Pitch looked pretty flat, but I think the spinners, I think in the first inning did a pretty good job of a holding role. Mehdi Hassan and a couple of the other guys. I was like, okay, maybe the pitch wasn't as flat.
Day one was very one-sided to New Zealand. Yeah, like you're saying, it seemed like New Zealand was just gonna make this a typical home game for them. But Bangladesh finished strong, so yeah.
Yeah, so I thought I was wrong. I was like, maybe the pitch isn't that flat because
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next match the pitch is extremely green and they bring out all their pacers to bowl Bangladesh out for 120 or something like that. But yeah, credit to Bangladesh. I mean, they batted beautifully, and especially in the second innings, their bowling was amazing.
Yeah, they had Hussain. I mean, he's right
here.
Yeah,
that 6-wicket haul.
Yeah, he is. His average was 80 before this. He apparently had the worst bowling average for anyone who's played 10 tests or more, and now he's a national hero. I mean, I think the Bangladesh. I think where Bangladesh won the game is the first innings. New Zealand keeping New Zealand down at 320. I think it actually was that pitch was flat, and I think Bangladesh showed how flat it was. The second innings where it was a real team effort. Nobody got 100, but they still put up a massive score. What did they put up? Like
there were like contributions from everyone, like 70s, 80s.
Yeah, there was like 88 from Wanamal, captain, 86 from within. Got 47 from the bowling under and
Littendorf.
And then 78 from Mamadou Joy. I'm not gonna lie, some of these players I've never heard of before.
Yeah, for real.
The top three completely unrecognizable to me, but that also has to do with the fact that I'm not following Bangladeshi cricket like that. But it was a seriously good batting effort and a seriously good bowling effort. And then I think even the second innings, like I think the very end of day 4, you would think it would be a draw, like when I think who was batting? It was I think when Will Young and I think Ross Taylor were batting. Kind of thought it would just be a draw. I mean, the pitch seemed fairly flat. They were looking pretty good out the crease, especially Will Young. But then a very, very poor shot by Will Young just opened up the game, and Hassan just broke through that middle order. You got Nichols and then Tom Blundell at night, and in the morning, they wasted no time. I thought we were shaping for a thriller, trying to be an absolute one-sided affair. He got Ross Taylor out very quickly with a beautiful inducker. Then Jameson, Southey, Rachin, Taskin Ahmed came into play, and yeah, there was 40-run target. That was never going to be a challenge. So it was a very I think it's definitely their biggest moment in Bangladesh cricket history. because you have to look at it. New Zealand are World Test champions. The last time they lost a test at home was 2017 March against South Africa. That's what, 5 years now. The last time they lost a series was in 2016 against Australia. So it's been now they've done one thing amazing. Now they have a chance to win this series. If they can win or draw the next match, they'll be the first team to win in this country after
first Asian team or first team ever?
No, first team in 6 years.
Okay. And they'll also be the first Asian team to win a series in New Zealand, right?
No, India's won in New Zealand in 2009.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
But so New Zealand recently whitewashed India and Pakistan. So if Bangladesh win this series, it'll be huge for them.
Yeah, it's huge. They made India look very incompetent the last time they came here.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed their batting lineup there.
Yeah, this is also the start of the cycle for the World Test Championship, right? So it's a solid start for Bangladesh. Obviously, a long road ahead, but yeah.
I mean, it already makes New
Zealand are like second to last. England's bottom, of course.
And yeah, shocking. But New Zealand be looking at these series as easy points, and now they won't have those easy points.
Exactly.
Right? Obviously, they're bottom. They lost to India, which was expected, but now these easy.
Do you know if away test matches give you more points? Is that a key thing? No, it doesn't. Okay.
You can't make a system.
The number of matches in a series is what makes a difference.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's why New Zealand. That's why 2-match series. New Zealand winning both is very advantageous, but they don't win one of those matches, they lose 8 points because a draw is 4, win is 12. So yeah, I think.
Where do you think it went wrong for New Zealand in this? Was it their bowling or both? Batting, both? Where is it?
Yeah, that middle order. I mean, look at the top order. Conway got 100. Will Young a couple of 50s. Ross Taylor looked good, but didn't get 50. But I think if you look at it, Henry Nichols, Tom Blundell, Rachin Ravinda, you got a couple of ducks in there, and then literally single figure scores. Yeah, those three did not put up any runs. I think that was the big thing. The New Zealand tail, which is fairly good at wagging, didn't wag either. But I think those three. Also, Tom Latham had a very poor test match with the bat. So that you got 4 batsmen out of 6 who didn't score.
Right.
Bowling, like I said, the pitch was flat, and I think New Zealand still gave a fairly good effort. I think they would have done better picking a proper spinner in this match.
They left out Ijaz Patel from the team.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, when I initially saw this decision, I wasn't surprised. I know he took a 10-wicket haul, but New Zealand pitches are inherently not good for spinners. Like no spinner has ever bowled really well in New Zealand, and I thought it was a good decision. But if you're making a flat deck, then you should have a proper spinner, definitely. Yeah. They had Rachin Ravindra, but he's more of a batting all-rounder, and he doesn't bowl that much. So yeah, they should have picked someone like Ijaz Patel.
Yeah, I think you need one spinner just to keep the control on the game, and he might have gotten wickets. You never know. Like Mehdi Hassan got 3 wickets. Monomo Hawk's part-time spin got a couple. So it's not like spin is completely useless, but I think unless it's a green seamer, you should. I think just how develop a spinner. You can't if you dump a spinner after a 10-wicket. Yeah, I get it. He might not play the game, but then don't ever expect to win in Asia then.
Well, I think without Williamson playing, they wanted to extend their batting lineup, right? So that's why they picked Ravindra, and that he's the only person that you drop for a spinner or a Ijaz Patel. So I guess it was a conscious decision going into this. But
Bangladesh just got in Rangana Hera as their spin consultant, so that could have helped them in a huge way as
well. Big news also, this is Ross Taylor's last series. He announced his retirement December 30th.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think hopefully one last big score from him will be nice just to round out his career.
Yeah, I thought second innings he looked good for 40 before he got that beautiful ball. I hope he gets one good score in. Caught a really nice catch in the 4th innings too, one hand to his right.
Yeah.
He's one of New Zealand's all-time slippers as well. Best slip catches. So sorry, I was watching this stupid England batting team lineup. But
Stokes bold but not bold. Yeah.
And he's been dropped as well. I don't know what.
It's some excitement. It's fun. It's something new.
Yeah, maybe. I think the Bales felt bad for England. That's what happened. But yeah, I think I hope Ross Taylor gets one big score. I I think I was discussing this with Mohawk today. You guys think this will be a one-off? Or do you think Bangladesh can actually like pull off a series win here? Do you think they can actually repeat this performance? Or do you think
It's
it was a
definitely
pretty
going to be
dominant
very
performance, actually. So I mean, yeah, it depends on the pitch, honestly. New Zealand just wasn't able to do much on it, and yeah, Bangladesh just bowled really, really well, both innings. So
I
I don't
mean,
know. I
they
mean,
definitely
it's hard to tell.
can, but Bangladesh is also a very erratic team. Like, I mean, sometimes I feel like they're working towards making themselves lose a match. Like before this match and in a few series, they are a self-destructive team sometimes. So, I mean, if they can come together as a group and play exactly like this test match, I think they'll have a solid chance for sure.
I think yeah, I don't see them winning because simply I don't think New Zealand will. I don't see like that pair of like Latham, Ross Taylor, and Nichols failing again. I think they'll get runs again unless especially if the pitch is flat.
Wait, so is Williamson back for the second match, or what's?
Williamson needs like surgery.
Yeah.
Like he's out for a good time.
Okay.
So I don't I would not see any. I don't think there'll be any changes in the team either. The only person
Spinner or
no, because Ajaz's not even in the squad, and
okay.
with quarantine, I don't think they can just bring him in like that. The only person who's under a little bit of pressure is Tom Blundell. Tom Blundell's record as an opener before Conway was fairly solid, but since he's come in as a specialist keeper, he hasn't got runs yet. He didn't get runs and he didn't get runs. It's only been 3 test matches, but he hasn't started off well. There's no viable backup because he's the only keeper in the team in squad, and it's way too early. But he probably be a little desperate for a score now. He got single figures in India and now 11 runs in this match, so he'll be under a little bit of pressure. But I think the team will stay the same next game. If anything, maybe they'll rotate a fast bowler out because they did put in a lot of overs in their legs. But
I think one of the few times I didn't really sit down and avidly watch this entire match. I should have, looking back on it. But I think the one time I did tune in, you mentioned this too, Bolt's imitation of Labuschagne.
oh my god, that was. I know Bolt is a weird batsman, but he was definitely imitating him.
Yeah, the Smith like flick of the bat saying no run.
You gotta be original, bro. Nah, it wasn't cool.
Nah, you like to see it. Come on.
It's like when someone tries to copy the cool kids, bro. That was what Brent Bolt was doing.
Yeah. I mean, he did survive for a decent amount of balls, right?
Trent was a good batsman. I'm talking about whatever he was trying to imitate. I don't care how good.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying mindset wise, that might have helped.
I tried doing that today. Actually, so I took a spinner. I went like this. And I was like, not now, and nobody laughed. So they're just like, what the fuck? Go bat, you tail ender. But yeah, I think Abada Hussain. I was reading a little bit about him. I never heard about him. I mean, if you saw clearly, like in this picture, he did the salute. He's part of the Bangladesh Special Forces or Air Forces. Oh, Starks did 2 4s in a row. I mean, Stokes. Damn, nice. He apparently used to be a volleyball player, and now he's an international. He's now an international cricketing star for Bangladesh. He bowled first off, he bowled quick on a flat pitch. He got a lot of life out of that flat deck, and he was getting the ball to move nicely, and that's how he set up both Blundell and Ross Taylor.
Sorry, 3 4s in a row, by the way.
Oh, fuck you, dude.
Off Stark.
I'm behind.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Shot, dude. Oh, there we go.
I know.
That's a shot. Oh man, he's like hurt.
I think he just wants to get out. Yeah,
dude, just bat like this, bro. Dude, what the hell is that 10 maidens in a row? Like,
yeah,
like Scott Bull and Ken Green. Are you serious? Like, I know they're good bowlers, but come on, it's not Cummins and Hazelwood.
Right.
Yeah. Stokes is done. He's not playing the next match.
He can probably still bat, right? Just some recovery, and then
look at his no bowling. Batting. Look how he's batting.
I know, but like it's because he bowled before this, and it's a recent injury, right? If he has time, I don't know. We'll see.
Right, don't spoil anything. I'm behind.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Aheda Hussain. Yeah.
He bowled. No, I'm joking.
Fuck you. I know you would. What if it actually is bowled, dude? You never know.
True. No, I saw the ball, and then I said, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Aheda Hussain, he bowled very rapid, got a lot of the deck. it's hard to judge a Bangladeshi fast bowler. They play on spin. I've seen them play like 4 spinners in their team and play like the batsman can bowl pace open to the new ball at times. Like I remember so many Sarkis take the new ball for Bangladesh. So like it's really hard to judge someone off Bangladesh stats only, in Bangladesh. But you need a pace attack to win games in SINA countries, and they showed they have very good pace attack. Taskin Ahmed, Shortful Islam was very, very good in the first innings as well. And then Ibadat Hussain, six wickets in the match. So there's definitely a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent that I wasn't fully aware of in this Bangladesh pace attack, and it'd be really exciting to see them in more conditions. Like,
do you know where they play next or who they play against next?
I don't know, but I think Bangladesh did send a cricketing message to the world, like, yo, we want to tour and we want to tour the big countries. Like, we can compete. I don't think I've ever seen Bangladesh play in Australia in my life. The last time Bangladesh played in England, I think was 2010. So I've never seen that either. I wasn't watching cricket back then. I think they've played in South Africa like once since I started watching cricket. So I think they need a bit more competitive series. West Indies too would be a good place for them to test their pace attack, and yeah, I'm excited to see their pace attack. It's not always that fun to see them bowl like 6 spinners and the biggest dust bowls. So it's very good though. I mean, I knew from the limited overs they have some talented pacers like Taskin and Mustafizur Rahman, but to see it on the test match level and against, I mean, like it's honestly like very hard. Like imagine if someone put money on this game before the match and said Bangladesh is going to win. I don't know how much money that got.
You'd win big, yeah.
65. Like New Zealand won the toss too. Like there's nothing like the last time I think a team shocked me like this was Sri Lanka beating South Africa in 2019. I remember the first test match thing. It was a bit of a fluke win. It wasn't a fluke win, but it was just like one guy won it for them, Saul Pereira. But then they did in the second match too, and to that bit ended up being one of the most shocking series win I've ever seen. But if Bangladesh beats them or draws the next match, this will be the most shocking win I think I've seen in cricket. I mean, I know like we talk about like Gabba and Border Gavaskar, but India is still over Australia overall. This is like New Zealand, peak New Zealand cricket team versus Bangladesh. And there's no Shakib in this team either.
Yeah,
true.
That's another thing. There's no Shakib in this team. I could be completely off about my Bangladeshi cricketing knowledge, but I'm pretty sure Tamim Iqbal is one of their best batsmen. So I don't know why.
I think he's retired, right?
He's retired from Test cricket?
I think so. He's either retired or he wasn't available.
Bro, my friend needs to shut up. He's like talking about cricket news that happened 3 months ago. Oh, I didn't know he retired. It doesn't say he's retired. He hasn't played a test match since 2021 April. So that's pretty recent.
Okay. Where do you guys think Williamson fits into this team? Obviously he gets into the team, but whose spot does he take? That's worded very poorly.
No one. Ross Taylor's spot.
Okay, and he would bat at 3 and Conway at 4?
He bats at 3, and yeah, I guess Conway goes to 4.
Okay.
I thought Conway would open Will Young about 3, but especially because Conway played 100 in England, and Will Young showed he could play spin pretty well in India, so I thought that would be the thing. But I guess they've gone with this, and
right.
Taylor's retiring after the second test match?
Yeah. Okay. I do think New Zealand would benefit putting Kane at 4. I just think like just the way the rest of the Fab 4, but I think there are a lot of times I feel like Kane gets an absolute ripper and gets out early. Because he put in a lot of different creations, I think he would get to avoid that when you have a top 3 of Latham, Conway, and Will Young. I do think like that could be a decent move. I just don't know if they'll make it's also really risky to switch up the position of your best batsman 11 years into his career. So I doubt they'll do that, but I don't think it would be a terrible move.
But also a switch up from 3 to 4 is not a huge one, right?
Yeah,
I think Virat Kohli made that change a few years ago, and he's playing decently well at 4 as he was at 3. So yeah.
I was never bad at 3 in test matches. He was bad. He had
initially or
no 5.
Okay, yeah.
Sachin was at 4.
But also like in the white ball format, he's batting at 3, and in red ball, he's batting at 4.
Yeah. But I mean, Steve Smith and Joe Root also batted 3 into white ball. His ball doesn't swing as much. And your best to play as many balls. In red ball, you want your best batsman to bat at the best time. You don't want him I mean, you don't want a England situation where Joe Root comes at 10 for 2, right? In more competent batting teams like India, Australia, and New Zealand, they don't want them coming out at 20 for 1, 30 for 1, and stuff like that. They rather have them come at like 70 for 2. That'd be a nicer platform for them to bat their best. But that's the only thing. But I think Kane, he has the tightest game of the 4, which is why, and he has the least risk at the start of his innings, which is why he's had so much success at 3. And it also is because Ross Taylor was the best batsman when Kane entered the team, and he wasn't going to move positions for him. So that's another factor. But yeah, I think I don't think it'll happen, but I think it's an interesting thing they could look at.
Any last thoughts on that match before we move on to India, South Africa?
No.
Yeah, pretty interesting match. The second match in Johannesburg. Yeah, South Africa coming away with the win. Bowling India out both under 300, both innings. One 202, and then the other 250 plus. So solid match overall. Dean Elgar was an amazing bat. Yeah, India just looked. I don't know. India looked decent, but just not great. And I felt like you could blame that to home conditions, and it's hard to pinpoint one exact thing that really went wrong with India, unless you guys have some thoughts. But I felt like just South Africa was just a more dominant team in this match.
Similar to Bangladesh, New Zealand, I think the way I said New Zealand lost in the first innings, I think India lost in the first innings as well. I think the way Ashwin batted at the end and KL batted at the start showed the wicket wasn't as difficult as perceived, and whatever score they had made, let me pull up the scorecard. 202. That was just not enough. I mean, I think.
I mean, without that last effort push from Ashwin, they'd be at like 150, right? So that's
right, yeah. I mean, I know Ashwin's a class bat, but he gets 46 off 50 balls. The main batsman got to do better. So I think 202 all out. I think South Africa both very. I think South Africa, they were shaky at the start, but Janssen and Olivier and Rabada afterwards and their second spells all bowled extremely well. But India were probably missing. I KL said it too. We missed 30-40 runs in the first innings, and that was probably the changing moment.
I gotta say, Mumbai Indian scouts are really solid. Finding Janssen, that
was crazy. That was very.
He bowled really well.
He's bowled after a very shaky start in like his first spell. In the
first test match, he looked average at best.
But he looked a lot better as a test match went on. And yeah, he's looking very good as a test cricketer. And I liked his showdown with Bumrah. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it.
Yeah,
it was pretty interesting. But yeah, Indian batting has not looked that great in the series. Like, to be blatantly honest, they have collapsed a lot. And they are very right now. The problem is they are. I'm surprised to say this. I don't think I would have said this a year ago, but they're over reliant on KL Rahul right now. He's kind of been the fort. It's frustrating. It must be really frustrating for KL Rahul himself, because he has the most difficult job in the team, opening as this new ball attack, and he's making it easier for the middle order, but they're not giving him that support. They're not coming in at terrible situations. KL Rahul is getting them 50-40 starts, playing off at least 10 overs minimum of the new ball. But
yeah, I mean I think the second innings for India, the third innings, that definitely, it was at least a small minor comeback for Pujara and Rahane, right? Scoring those 50s. I mean, versus like their duck in 3 runs in the first innings. So.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of offset the failure they did in the first innings. I don't know if.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, they batted very, very well on the day 3 morning.
Rahane looked good.
They both looked very good. Pujara looked really good. Pujara looked like the England Pujara when he was also on a little bit of pressure. He came and counterattacked with a 91 at Headingley. It was very similar to that innings, and I mean, we've talked a lot about Pujara and Rahane, and for anyone who's a huge fan of our podcast, they would know I'm pretty lenient on Pujara because I know what he can do. But I'm very like sick and tired of Rahane, and I'm still like not. Like someone's gonna have to be dropped for Kohli next match, and I think it should be Rahane. I think Vihari had a pretty good test match. 60
No,
runs.
Vihari's gonna conveniently have another niggle now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now I think Vihari. I think Vihari should have 5 and Cole should go 4. I think Rahane. I mean, like
that's not
the
gonna
shot
happen
he
with
played.
Rahane is 50, right? So I don't know.
He's not. It's not going to happen because he could have ducked and he could have scored a pair. You would not get dropped. Okay, okay. First off, the shot he played in the first things was ridiculous. I mean, you're coming in at 4. You're the senior most batter in the team, and that's just not the shot you play first ball. Wafting at a wide ball. And yeah, I mean, he batted very well, but again, it's just a 50. Like what India needed was 100 at that point.
This is the second test match as well. He should have scored 100. So
yeah, he got 40 in the last match, 50 here. This is not when you're like 60, 70 test matches in. This is not what it's not.
It's a career saving knock, right? Because every time it comes,
how many career saving? You can't have 5 career saving knocks in a year.
I mean, he does it. He goes like 5 test matches, like all ducks, and then one match he scores 50.
Here's what I'm saying. I don't care. I'd still drop him next match.
I mean, you don't care.
Yeah. I have more leniency with Pujara because of what he did in Australia, what he did in England. But Rahane's been basically useless in all these series.
Right.
I totally agree. Like Pujara at least has an average of 27, but Rahane's average is less than 20 in 2021. But also the thing is that if you're not removing Rahane after a string of 1-digit scores, why would you remove him after a 50?
I don't know. He's got dirt on the selector. You tell me. Yeah, he's. I mean, okay, like if you compare like the England team, right? We keep saying, oh, drop this, but we can't because their placements are suck. But we saw firsthand this match, the dude who's been touted as one of the backups for Rahane does not suck. He scored a good fighting 20, then a 40, not out batting with the tail, right?
Yeah.
Hari. We got Iyer who got 100 on debut. We got Mayank Agarwal is also a backup for Rohit, but he can also come in way better than whatever Rahane's been doing 5. Mayank Agarwal's looked pretty good in the series. I think Mayank Agarwal will actually be pretty disappointed with this test match because he got a good start in the first innings, looked very, very solid, and he did not make a big score.
There's Gill who could maybe bat in the middle order.
Gill is also someone who's not done too much wrong in his short India career before. So there's a lot of very capable backups. So I think these like 50s and all, even these guys would have made a 50 here and there. But I think they have centuries too as well. So I think I'm very done with Rahane. So I think another thing is also Rishabh Pant is not scoring now. I
think there's a statistic after the World Test Championship, he's averaging under Bumrah in terms of runs.
Yeah, so there's also a statistic exposing that he has a weakness to balls from racing pace from over the wicket versus around the wicket. Angling across. I think Ollie Robinson exposed this at first in England.
Right.
But I mean, this test match, dismissal was that. I mean, that was just a very poor shot.
Dravid was saying they'll have some conversation with him about shot selection. I mean, you're a professional cricketer, you should know all this stuff. But
I think
you can talk about his natural game and all of that, but you also have to be patient, and everyone's playing properly and they're playing their shots in the beginning and they're not just going for the big hit, right?
I mean, so the thing is that shot does come off for him. So we'll applaud him for a shot like that if it does work. And then we're just gonna berate him for when he obviously gets out on a shot.
I try to avoid doing stuff like that, but I looked closely into if you look closely at Pant's the times Pant has scored, he doesn't start off with shots like that. He might start off with he might come down the wicket and play an aggressive cover drive shot, but to step out to Rabada in a heat of a spell, second ball and 0 like that. It made me think something happened in his head. I don't think that was his natural game. I think Rossi Van Dersen sledged him and got into his head. I think that clearly was more his ego came into play. And he's like, I'm going to show it. But Pant starts off. Pant is a good when he scores runs. He's very, very good at picking which balls to play. I mean, that's how he took down Nathan Lyon, right? He didn't just widely slog at him. He knew when to come at him. He knew when to come at Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark in the Ashes, and then Jimmy Anderson and the England.
But he was on 70 runs at that point when he
exactly. Yeah, he's not on 0, and this is a very precarious situation. So I don't think we need to talk. I don't think anyone's going to disagree that the shot was bad. So but yeah, I think.
But also, Pant is India's best wicketkeeper batsman right now. The other option is Saha, who is okay, who is playing well in India, but I don't think he's an option in the overseas test matches. And Pant has definitely proven that he's the best option right now. So, yeah, I think Yeah, like I know that he's not his shot selection is not good, but I think we have to stick with him right now for sure.
I mean, he's not really droppable at this point.
I mean,
but
yeah. I'm not saying to drop him at all.
Yeah.
I do think there's another thing interesting about Pond is I don't think he fully trusts his defense in these. If you look at his career, he has scored when he scored overseas, he scored in conditions where the ball doesn't move as much. It's more pacey, bouncy conditions like Australia. But when the ball's moved a bit more, like England, like certain test matches in England, Australia, New Zealand, West Indies, I think his doesn't trust his defense. He goes looking for a score, tries to get a score quickly before he gets a good ball. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of how even last test he kind of played like that too when he got to 30 quickly before being dismissed. So I think he doesn't trust the defense in these conditions fully. So he tries to he's just looking for a few boundaries very quickly. But yeah, let's move on from India. Let's talk about how well South Africa played this match. First off, after a very lackluster first hour, I think on day 3, bowling Rahane Pujara. I mean, I think the commentators were saying that South Africa were bowling terrible. Rabada just sparked up, and Dean Elgar said he had a strict talking to Rabada, which got him fired up apparently, and he ripped through India right there. And then Olivier on comeback after he hasn't played a test match in 3 years. And what's his name? Marco Jansen, they all bowled extremely well after that, and Nikiti is in support especially in the last test match. They definitely stepped up, but I think the hero of this match is South Africa's captain, Dean Elgar. He's
100%
he scores more runs when he gets tougher. I mean, I remember very similar test match 4 years ago in India won Johannesburg. He stayed not out on 90, and this time I think it'd be lost satisfaction in a very similar game. If you look at the scores, he was able to carry South Africa across the line very easily. In fact, they won by 7 wickets, so batted extremely well. I mean, the way he batted, I think the night of day 3, I think gave a lot of confidence. Definitely for me, I felt South Africa were favorites coming in on the last day. I definitely felt like it would be a Herculean bowling task from India to win this match. And I think Dean Elgar, I mean, the ball could seam around all over, but he has the most doggedy technique you'll see to survive. And
yeah, I think the first innings, he faced 120 balls, right? I mean, even if you're not scoring runs, which he didn't, he scored 28 runs off of that. It's going to set your middle order up for success. So I mean, yeah, just the ability to survive is amazing for him.
And the 77 in the first test. Fourth inning. I mean, here's the thing: South Africa, fourth innings, one of the greatest bats I think of all time in fourth innings is Graham Smith, and Dean Elgar is literally a second version of Graham Smith, and I think he has shown that too in his career so far. And he's a real. I was going to say captain's name, but Dean Elgar's not the captain, but it was a real fighting inning from one of their most senior batsmen.
Yeah.
Graham Smith also sent out a tweet saying that this was one of South Africa's greatest test wins ever. And the fact that it's coming from one of South Africa's greatest test captains ever is a huge compliment. Right. And I also think it's a testament to how important this win is for South Africa. I mean, especially after how they got out of the T20 World Cup and they even lost the ODI match from Ireland. I think this was really important for them. Like, if you think about it, if the 2008 South African team had won a random test match against India in South Africa, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But this is a resurging South African team, especially after ABD, the likes of ABD, Amla, and Steyn have retired. They haven't been at their best. So this is definitely a good step towards regaining their might in test matches. And that's why I think that this is definitely one of their greatest test wins ever. Yeah, and this is also their first test win against India at the Wanderers.
Yeah, they have a proud record. They look like they're fighting hard to defend, which is they've never lost a test series at home against India. So yeah, when I started watching cricket, South Africa was by miles the best test team in the world. I mean, I still think up to 2018, I think until the Sandpaper series, they were still a top 3 side in the world always. So this is a big victory, I think. And you're looking. Like now that you're looking at, there's like pieces of the puzzle are just starting to form, right? You got 3 very good fast bowlers here, You also got, but their best, there's probably their second best fast bowler is out of the series, Norkia. So you have four competent fast bowlers. You've seen the likes of Elgar and Bavuma score more runs. Kigo Ben Peterson looks on just so I saw the eye test. He looks like he could play at least 50 plus test matches and average 40 plus. He's looked good this test
solid
match.
Technique, actually. Yeah.
Very solid technique, very pleasing on the eye. Very similar to Aiden Markram, actually, the way he bats, I feel. Markram, he hasn't got that score yet, but I mean, we know Markram is class. I think Rossi van Dersen has not got that score yet, but we also know he can bat very, very well too. So
he did get a good score in the second innings.
Did he? Sorry, did he score?
He did get a good score in the second innings. 40, like he was the second fiddle to Elgar.
Yeah, so I mean, you got all four of them got certain type of score in when they bat in the fourth thing. So, I mean, obviously Quinton de Kock retiring was not the greatest things to have happened recently, but if Kyle Verheyen can also step in, they got a pretty decent top six right there, you know? I mean, he has a first class average of 50 plus, so he's a very competent wicketkeeper batsman as well. So you're seeing makings of a very, very good side here. And there's a lot, so like I can see like this team to grow it further. And I think a real test will hopefully be in a year when they tour Australia. I'm very excited to see how they'll do there. Because then I think by a year their testing will hopefully be, because they've been in transition phase for around 3 years now, and it'd be nice to say, okay, we're done transition phase. Let's go back to doing what we did well, which is they were able to beat Australia many, many times under the golden side. So I think next year will be a great testament. But for right now, what they got to do is try to win the series, and I think it's set up very, very nicely at the third test. I think I predicted 2-1 India, so I'm glad to see my prediction still on for the third test.
Is Norkia back for the third match, or
I think he's out for the whole match, whole series? Yeah. But yeah, should we talk? Let's talk about. I think we should talk about one more player. I think. Yeah, we should probably talk about the Lord himself. I mean, Lord sent us to play cricket because of him. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty shocking to learn that Shuttlecocker got sent waking up in the morning to see that. That was definitely very shocking. I mean,
best figures for an Indian against South Africa in South Africa.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. Shuttlecocker this is actually his first test loss as well.
True. Yeah.
Disappointing staff for him now that his perfect record's not maintained, but he bowled extremely well. I mean, I don't know why people think he's such an innocuous bowler. I mean, he looks like
it's just the lack of pace, and he doesn't really swing the ball either. So
he's a very nice outswinger action. I mean, his pace is like same as like 90% of England fast bowlers, and we think of them as a fast bowler country.
True.
Like,
yeah, that's fair. But I think it's more also the role that he plays. He always comes in to break up a partnership, and he somehow manages to pick out that golden ball, and you know he just does, which is amazing.
Golden ball. This is 7 wickets. This is like, he has better bowling figures now than Bumrah, Siraj, Shami. Actually, he has better figures than Ishant now, maybe. But if you look at it, he looks kind of innocuous if you compare to the rest of the three. But I think he'd be a top 3 pacer in a lot of countries, and he's a very good bowler, and he's a very good batsman as well.
As well.
I mean, like he's played like 3 very impactful innings so far in 1 year of Test cricket. Like he's played Test cricket for a year. He's had a lot of impact on this Indian side already. I mean, I think his pure impact already is he's been able to keep Ashwin out of the team in England, and
in England,
it's proven that to be successful.
Right.
But I think the last thing I want to talk about was spin, both Ashwin and Keshav Maharaj.
Keshav Maharaj only getting 2 overs in the entire test.
He's basically been useless this test match. Keshav Maharaj. Ashwin's batted very well. He's not picked up wickets.
He got 3 wickets, I think, in the 2 test matches.
Right.
But again, that's not great. I think he became the second bowler after Anil Kumble to get a wicket at the Wanderers. Second Indian spinner.
Yeah, last time they went to Wanderers, they played 5 fast bowlers, both teams. Keshav Maharaj and Ashwin were dropped. They both played this match. Keshav Maharaj didn't do anything. The thing was, the wicket ball Ashwin got, that ball spun big. So it made me think spin should have been in the game. And a spinner of his quality, I thought would be very crucial on day 4. The problem is I didn't watch day 4, so I couldn't see if he bowled badly, if there was no assistance from the wicket or not. So I don't know what to say about Ashwin, but the problem is like you can't really drop him because he does look like one of India's more competent batsmen right now. even though I do think from team balance perspective, it actually might make more sense to bring in a batsman for Ashwin, simply because the India are lacking on runs right now a little bit, especially since that middle order is not striking fully. But
you're getting Kohli for Ashwin.
No, but the thing is, no, I wouldn't, because Ashwin is giving India runs.
You drop either Rahane or Bahari, but Bahari in India.
I'm dropping Rahane, but India's definitely dropping Bahari.
Yeah,
I think next test match might be Rahane's final. 150 in 4 innings is not career saving in my opinion.
This is an unending cycle. He'll make 150 after 10 innings and he'll regain his spot, and this will continue for 10 years. And Rahane has never been a Leaf Test cricketer.
50 for Stokes.
Yeah, 50 for Stokes also.
Is this the first 50 in a long time for England? Oh, no, Joe Root hit a 50 last match.
Root, yeah. This is the first 50 for Stokes this series. But, yeah. It's good to see the first innings that he's actually played where he's attacked and he's scoring big.
So wait, he's 50 of 70?
Yeah.
How? They were like 0 of 20. Oh, he had start for 3/4. Yeah. Bears looked decent this series. I mean, he hit 30 last game, and he got an unlucky LBW last game, I think. It was like umpire's call, so.
Yeah.
Bears has a good game for Australian conditions. I thought I could see him he might score a bit more. But he's also Bears, so you never know. He's like very inconsistent. But yeah.
Yeah. What, they only have Butler after this, right? And then the tail, who scores like 10 runs.
So they start with the tail's coming in next.
Yeah. Wow. Butler will score. Have faith.
Okay, but yeah. So I think Indian team will stay the same. Otherwise, I think I think Kohli will just come in for Hari. He should come in for Rahane. Oh, I think Ishant will come in for Suraj next match. Suraj just has an injury, and he looked out of sorts in matches. I think with the series on the line, they'll want their most experienced pacer, even if freaking Suraj thinks Ishant's not good, though he averages 21 in the last 5 years. But whatever you say.
Okay, I still stand by
also,
that. Also,
another reason. I think another reason why India lost was I wasn't really impressed with KL's captaincy. Not that I'm a huge fan of Kohli's captaincy, but KL Rahul was not vocal at all.
Dude,
he didn't bring in that aggression and all of that.
Yeah.
Also, I thought that he went in with a set template and he was just following that template. Like they had decided earlier which bowler to bowl when, and he was just following that. And yeah, I think that's the case with most of the captains nowadays, right? Even Virat Kohli, he goes in with a set template, and that's how it goes. Like I think gone are the days of the great captains like Dhoni, Graham Smith, Ricky Ponting. Like those people used to improvise on the pitch, like right there and then. I didn't see that in KL Rahul's captaincy at all, and I think that was one of the reasons that India couldn't like bring up a collapse on the last day.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you on that because I didn't watch the final day, but
I mean, you can just look at Leach's captaincy. Like 4 people on the boundary for Leach. That's like a set plan. That's not improvisation. Come on.
And he was really defensive. That's
not even Root's fault. Dude, Leach sends them to the boundary himself. I've seen him do that himself.
God, I was so pissed off. He was just bowling everything on leg stump. It was the worst thing to watch.
Yeah, I know. You said that really text. Is it hard for a spinner to pull on leg stump? Like, yes, when he knows going for six. I think the move to make KL captain was interesting. I think tactically Rahane is a better captain, but I think they also have acknowledged Rahane's on his way out, and KL is the most informed batsman. So based on batting ability, Rahul would be the captain, but I think based on what I see in IPL, I've never rated KL as a captain.
He's not been great with Punjab as well as a captain.
Yeah, but okay, nobody can captain that freaking team. To be honest.
Well, luck now, right? So
yeah.
So it is possible. It might have been smarter for India to let Rahane captain though, because he is a good captain. And he has a good record.
Experience. Yeah.
Right.
But again, you can't remove a player after he was the stand-in captain. So I think that could be the mindset behind not.
Yeah, it's a confusing situation. Here's the thing: if this match was played in India and not that relevant, I would have been okay making KL captain. But yeah, it might have been too much making captain of a test match series on the line. Very important series for India. Might have been.
Why not make Ashwin captain? Like he's a really senior player, and I think he has the capability of a good leader.
India does not believe in bowler captains. Most countries don't.
But Ashwin's like a spinner, right? Shane Warne was a captain. as a spinner. I know it's difficult for pace bowlers to captain because, I mean, they usually field at the boundary and it's difficult for them to come inside the circle and like give suggestions and set the fields. But I think Ashwin could have.
When was Shane Warne never captain Australia?
I think the issue with Ashwin is also he's not going to be playing in every test match as they've shown in England, right? So it's hard to have him as a captain or a player as a captain that's not going to be in the side. So
yeah. Though I don't know, Dean Elgar, I don't know if they still would have won if Kohli captained or Ronnie captained. I think it's not a 2-wicket victory; it's a 7-wicket victory. So it's a pretty easy win at the end of the day for South Africa. They played very, very well. I think one thing I saw KO Robin criticized for is starting with Ashwin. Right? Did he start with Ashwin on? I think that's what people were criticizing him for, starting day 4 with Ashwin. Which seems like a weird move when there's so much rain and all. You definitely would want to start with 2 fast bowlers.
Yeah. First 2-3 overs he started with Ashwin, then he brought back the pace again.
Yeah.
I think it was Bumrah and Ashwin at the beginning.
That's the other thing. Bumrah did not have a great test match. Siraj didn't have a great test match. So
I mean, Bumrah bowled well. Like he bowled the correct lines and lengths, but somehow he didn't get the wickets.
Yeah, but I think on the day 3 evening he did not bowl well. He looked 4 and over. South Africa got too many runs that day for it. That's what made India not in a great position by day 4. I think 120 was just a lot to give.
Also, a big difference between the first and the second test match was the lines and lengths South African pacers bowled. Like Marco Jansen went for 4 and over in the first test, and he looked pretty confident in the second one. So yeah, and they were pretty inconsistent in the first one, and that's something that they improved on in the second test, their bowlers. So yeah, I think this was a great improvement which led them to win this match.
That's very interesting. I feel like we should talk a little bit about Kagiso Rabada. I mean, if you look on Twitter, everyone seems to say Rabada's down on pace. He's not bowling that well, and there are certain spells where, like, when you look at like when Pujara and Rahane are batting, or when KL Rahul and Mayank were batting the first test, he looks like a very average bowler. But then look at the end of the day, he has 13 or 14 wickets in the series. He's leading wicket taker by miles, and his bowling average is still 22, which is still like best in the world.
I think the standard is just so high, right? With the
standard
being the standard of like pace bowlers in general in international cricket, like with Australian pacers.
Wait, hold on. That's beautiful batting from Bairstow. The sweep.
Yeah, Bairstow's nice. Yeah.
That's lovely. Yeah, but yeah, I think but the standard for Rabada seems to be very, very high. Like, someone said he's not been the same bowler, but he bowled very, very well in West Indies earlier this year, and he's a leading wicketaker right now. Like, what more do you want from him?
Yeah.
Like this
I guess it's just to be constantly threatening. Sometimes his lines are always like sometimes too wide, right?
Yeah,
and it's just like he's trying to get through his overs rather than pick up wickets.
I mean, Rabada doesn't strike me as being like extremely accurate. So like some spells he's going to be. I mean, he bowls very, very quick.
Yeah.
He bowls a lot.
I think that's where the balance between like Nortje and Rabada come in.
Yeah.
Nortje is quick and he's pretty accurate. But yeah, I think Rabada has the ability to waver just that bit once Nortje is back in the team. And yeah.
But here's the thing for me: if this series ended right now, Rabada would be South Africa's man of the series for me. Rabada would probably be man of the series. Him or KL Rahul.
Not Dean Elgar.
No, I think KL Rahul.
I mean,
but it's between those two. Yeah.
It'd be between Rahul or Rabada for me. So
okay.
But like that's like the thing with Rabada's expectations to be so high. Like I felt this too. Like he's not bowled well since 2018, but his bowling average is not diminished at all. It's still 22. Like 22 is Dale Steyn, Glenn McGraw level. So it's like he maintains that, and he keeps bowling like this. I mean, he's still bowling quick. The sharp in swing is still there. Seam movement. He's tapered off that aggression that always gets him a ban, those send-offs, luckily too, which I find very funny. Like he'll always have someone like push him away from the batsman. I find that to be freaking hilarious. So yeah.
Whom do you think will be out when Nokia comes back? Jansen or Olivier?
Rotated. Maharaj, to be honestly, in South African conditions, they probably draw Maharaj just so they don't.
So they'll play without a spinner.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're not gonna bowl the spinner, you might as well not, right? I mean, like it's just in South Africa and New Zealand conditions. It's just so terrible to bowl spin. I mean, England, Australia, at least there's something. At least the pitches break up. But here the pitches don't do anything for spin. Like you have to look at a player like Dan Vittori, whose average was like 32 in Test cricket, and you still have to acknowledge that he's a legend because he bowled in New Zealand pitches. I mean, Paul Harris, Keshav Maharaj, who was ever that other funky spinner who bowls like this from? Is that Paul? No, Paul Harris and not Paul Adams. Those guys are a lot better than their stats will ever show because these are just terrible conditions to bowl spin, any form of spin, like spin off spin. So, and I think South Africa is Ashwin's poorest country. He has like 4 in this country, but otherwise there's nothing really much of his record here. Interestingly, Jadeja's only played 1 test in South Africa. He's 6 but that's the only wicket I've ever seen that's spun. In that match, Robin Peterson also got 4 wickets against India. So otherwise, yeah, it's just not a very good place to bowl spin.
Any last thoughts? I think we can. Preston posted a debate topic in the chat if you want to briefly talk about that.
Sure. So context: Stokes got bowled but did not get bowled. So he said debate with sing stump sensors. Are bails in the whole bails needs to be dislodged or redundant in international cricket? Obvious drawback is discrepancies in rules across grades of cricket, but other than that, could it be worth the experiment? Right.
So he's saying what if the bails, if they light up, then that's out. That's it.
The bails will only light up if it's dislodged, though, right? Isn't that how?
But they could land.
What a shot, dude! Nice batting. No, but they only light up if they get removed from the groove, right?
But I think
for the batsman
to get out, the bails need to fall.
Yeah,
at least one bail needs to fall down.
Yeah, so they've lit up before, and then they land like right back onto the stumps, and
I feel like
they're off.
The confusion then will be like, is it really off? Has it really jumped off? Has it really jumped off? Like, did it go 1 inch above the air, or did it not go off at all? It just be like there's just so many more factors, and the board was getting more complicated.
Yeah.
I don't think it's such a big deal because this is a very rare, and as he said, like that's not a really implement in lower levels of cricket. Like we struggle to bring stumps to our practices. Like, you think we're gonna bring bails next? But yeah.
Cool. Last thoughts.
Predictions for the last match.
Predictions. Yeah.
I mean, I still think India will win the third. I think.
And you said
century for Kohli.
All right. Scoffed off. Wow. The disrespect. It's 2022.
No. He can okay, I kind of am not sure if India will win next because I thought they would win this and they'd lose the next one because they're the record of wanderers. Where is the next match?
Johannesburg. Wait.
That's where they played this match.
Cape Town.
Okay.
South Africa have a good record there. I'm still gonna go India. I think.
Centurion, they had a good record, so I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, I guess records don't really matter. I guess both sides have breached each other's fortress in a certain way. So yeah, I'm gonna say. All I'm gonna say is if India don't win this test match, I don't see them winning in South Africa anytime soon because this is probably their bestest chance to win a series in South Africa. They were very close 2 years ago, and they would not want to let go of this opportunity. So, yeah,
this is before South Africa have completely rebuilt. Their pace attack is perfect. India's pace attack is like perfect, pretty much. Yeah, right. Everything's in place. So it'll be a solid, good last match.
Yeah, set up for a thriller.
I think
Bumrah will come all guns blazing, and I feel like he's gonna get like an 8 or something.
I think Ishant is gonna shut the fuck out of Suraj and get a 5
All right, we'll see.
He's just that good of a bowler.
We'll see. My man's gonna be a substitute fielder. Watch. Yeah, exactly. All right. I think that wraps it up. I think we'll do another podcast after the Ashes are complete, and then after the last India South Africa match. We'll see how Ishant does.
And Bangladesh, New Zealand too.
Bangladesh, New Zealand as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you check out our previous video as well on our test team of the year for 2021, and subscribe. Thanks. Happy birthday, Mo.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mo. Just on today.